Hello and welcome to Darkness Descending presents the North American Amateur Starcraft League. Season 1, week number 5, game number 3 between Thanor and Zoure. Both Protoss players were in blistering sands, which for my money I really dislike because it has a double opening to to the natural. As a Protoss player, that's really not fun to deal with. I prefer to only have the one entrance into the natural, but that's okay. So Thanor going for the 9 probed pylon, and I believe Zoure actually went for, yep, he went for the for 8 probed pylon, which I'm I'm not really sure why he does that. It doesn't seem like it's not overly usual. Because even if you get out that earlier pylon, you can't really do anything with it until you start getting that 11th, until you build your extra probes. But it doesn't, honestly, after I watched these games, it didn't seem to make that much of a difference. So to each their own, I guess. Alright, so both players sent out a scout, both players seeing seeing the basic Protoss startup. Not too much to say here. So last game we had both players decided to do a really heavy all-in rush, and Thanor actually was able to come out on top with that. But this game, neither player is opting to use a strategy of that sort. So we're looking like we'll have a little bit of a longer game than last game at least. So far pretty standard stuff. You got a gateway, you got your assimilator. Same thing over here with Zoure. Now I was actually really pleased to see not the standard Colossus versus Colossus battle on game 1. So hopefully we have a similar scenario here where not both players either go with, or at least one player goes with something slightly different. Alright, so Zoure dropping his cybernetics core. Thanor also getting his cybernetics core. It's a little bit supply blocked at the moment. Both players looking pretty good. Not too much different to speak of. Now it is important when you're going against a Protoss player, more than a lot of other players, is to really follow their scouts, because those scouts may just decide to drop a pylon in a place that you're not used to, or you're not really thinking to look for, and when they do that, it can be very dangerous later game because of those warp gates, especially since Protoss players typically try to hold off their choke. Oh, just missed the block. That would have been really nice, but now Thanor is able to just kind of run around at his leisure and do as he pleases. So Zoure's looking pretty strong. He's got actually he's behind a bit in the probe count, but his production's a little bit, I think, a little bit more online. Yeah. So you're looking at so Zoure currently has a little bit more production units and has more building capacity and more actual units on the field. But Thanor does have that early robotics facility, relatively early gateways. Zoure looking to oh, maybe not. But he's gonna go say hello to his friend. He does drop a pylon at the destructible rocks. That's really important because otherwise there's no way for you to know when if your opponent's trying to go at your back door, essentially. He does put a pylon over here. I think that's for vision, but to be perfectly honest, I don't think it gives you much more than this edge, so it's not the best vision, I guess, but it's good to have pylons on relative edges of your base, just to give you a heads up if somebody tries to do some sort of drop on you or some sort of air attack. You can get heads up about it before it's in your actual mineral line, which is a good thing. Alright, so Thanor is now moving out to his ramp a bit and looking, I think, to hold off any particular push that will be coming, which is coming. Now with that Immortal there, those Stalkers really need to focus down that Immortal, because it just does such devastating damage to it. I mean, as you see. The important thing is you needed to, or the reason why I feel that this didn't work out too well for him, I mean, he lost a lot of Stalkers in that exchange, was that you really need to have that Zealot there, because that Zealot will tear down the Immortals' shields really quickly, and also Immortals will typically attack the Zealot first. And the thing is that those Zealots do not take nearly as much damage from the Immortals as the Stalkers do, so they will last a much longer time. So it looks like Zoure is going to back off and try again another day. Thanor does have his additional Immortal out, looking to make another Immortal, has a couple Stalkers, so he's looking pretty good. Zoure took the opportunity during that push to make a expansion, which is a very good move, and that was unfortunate because of Thanor. He put himself right in a corner. He's not going to be able to move. Those Stalkers do not hit those Zealots very hard, and so we're going to see only one Zealot loss for that full Stalker loss. That was kind of a rough deal. Thanor is also getting his proxy pylon to be taken down, so it looks like Zoure is getting an early advantage here. Although he currently doesn't have as many Harvesters, that can be made up easily by the fact that now he has 2 Nexus. Thanor, on the other hand, is actually starting to get a pretty decent force of Immortals. So if you added a couple Zealots into that mix, that's actually a pretty scary army, especially since you can't as effectively force field off this ramp. So it's something that Zoure is really going to have to be one aware of, and also be careful of. On the uphand, Zoure does have the scouting tower, so he can see a really big area here, so he'll be able to hopefully see any attacks before they happen. And this is mostly because even if he is going for the destructible rocks, most armies by default walk through here, and you'll be able to see them as they walk through here if you have this scouting tower. So let's see if he circumvents it or not. So he does make a good choice there, and circumvents the second tower. Hopefully goes up here and just checks to see if nobody's there. Fantastic. So that was a good move there. I don't know if... So he does see him. I'm not sure why he went down through that route. Maybe he's just trying to check the tower after all, but that's okay. Zoure at one point was shooting at the rocks with a single Stalker, so I think that's what actually brought him down there. Thanor is now looking to take control of the tower, kill off that pylon, so Zoure doesn't have that easy forward base, essentially. Alright, so both players back up to about the same amount of Harvesters. Thanor has his expansion up, Zoure has his expansion up and currently working. We have a little bit of a supply block there. Thanor also now starting to saturate that base. He does get an Observer. As the first game, he didn't make that Observer, and it really cost him late game because Zoure switched to the Dark Templar tech. So both players playing a little bit more timidly, and you'll actually... And that's actually a good thing to point out, is that since we made it into Game 3, now it's an all-or-nothing thing. Whoever wins this game is going to be the winner of this set. So both players are being a bit more cautious, I think, in this third game. So now we have an Observer that's been produced but isn't really being used right now. He really needs to get to see what is he up against. And it looks like Zoure is opting to go with the air style again, which can be really effective if you have a good amount of Zealots, a couple Stalkers, and one air unit, and hopefully, obviously in the future, more air units. That can be really effective because